Hello everybody, welcome back to another weekly review for F45 Trading. This week we will be discussing Monday, February 3rd to Friday, February 7th. I can't believe it's already a new month, second month of the year. It's like 2020 just got here and now we're already 31 days down already. Pretty incredible. So, getting into the markets, you'll notice if you've been following them fairly closely, it was a fairly volatile week last week with the interest rate announcements for the US dollar and the pound sterling. So we had a lot of movement, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. But first, I just want to bring up the economic calendar for the week and just make sure you are all aware that we have the standard stuff coming out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we have, obviously, Friday we have NFP. So you're going to want to take note of that and be cautious during those days. Thursday this week, it's probably going to be mainly consolidation, with the exception of the euro dollar and the Australian dollar. We could see some movement on the euro with the ECB president speaking. And Australian dollar, do not trade Australian dollar on Thursday evening. 7:30 p.m. New York time. As you can see, the monetary policy statement comes out. So they have an interest rate announcement, and that will more than likely move the Australian dollar fairly significantly. So just keep that in mind. But Monday, we've got some great economic news coming out with ISM manufacturing. We should get some decent movement happening. We have cash rate and RBA rate statement for Australian dollar. And then we've got, again, which you're going to want to be very cautious trading this, right? Australian dollar. And then Tuesday, the only economic news event is the Australian dollar, Governor Lowe speaking. And then Wednesday, we get into more speeches by ECB president. We get into ADP non-farm employment change for the US dollar, and then ISM non-manufacturing crude oil inventory numbers, of course, and some more Australian dollar news. So all week long, really, Aussie is going to be hit pretty hard. You're going to want to be careful with that one. I'll talk about Aussie a little bit here today. I think we're going to see some continued downside on Australian dollar, but I'll cross that bridge here towards the end of the video. And I'm going to try and keep this very short today, so let's get into this. And I say that every week. Okay, so US dollar, we had obviously $98 on the US dollar index got hit. Well, actually, technically, and your feed may be a little bit different than mine, but on my broker's feed here, it just fell shy of 1 pip. So I had this level marked. You can go back there last week and in my weekly recording and see I had this area pegged out. I knew price was going to run all the way up into there, and we did that exactly on cue. What did surprise me, though, was I expected a little bit of sell-off from that news, but I was hoping we would have seen Friday's news push it up one more time and get up to the 98.15 level here that I have marked off. We didn't do that, and we had a very, very aggressive sell-off. Now, again, that could be attributed to a few factors. But that being said, I think this week here, it's going to be very interesting. I think the best days of the week are going to be Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday, but I don't believe Thursday and Friday are going to offer very many opportunities. It could get a little bit wild. Now, what I don't want to see on the downside, if we break 97 even, this level right here, then I'm going to be switching my stance to bearish, and we're going to probably end up trying to run this low here. Obviously, as price was running up into here, I told you I had my lines in the sand of where I wanted price to go, and we respected every one of them, and that's why I had this level outlined above here. And we hit that target very, very nicely. Now, I believe there's still some upside left to this movement up here. So what I'm thinking here is we're probably going to give a lot of this back. Now, the million-dollar question that I want to see is, do we come back up above this range in here? So basically, where this blue line is right here, essentially, I want to see how willing price is to get above that. So it would really be just a return essentially above Friday's high. If we can't make above Friday's high by Friday, by NFP on Friday, then price is going to continue to fall down. Now, what my target rate now for just Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday is going to be right about here, about the 97.60 level. So we're pretty close to that right now. Now again, I'm hoping we see an aggressive push. I'd like to see them come back up and run this high one more time. We're in a very nice uptrend here, but this was a very convincing sell-off here. Now they could just be running this south just to catch everyone off guard, run all the stops, and then shoot it up one more time. But I'll know for sure if we break 97, big figure to the downside, we're going lower. That's really all there is to it. I believe the easy money and the easy target is going to be 97.60, maybe even up to 97.70. And if we really start picking up some steam, then I'm hoping the 98 figure will get hit and even up even higher than that. I don't necessarily think we're going to start running these highs, this old high up in here this week. So I'm not going to talk about that until we get above this high here. And then I see what we do in here. So we'll worry about this guy later. But for now, I believe 97.70 on the upside will get run up to, and I want to see if it will respect the 97 big figure level. Okay, so EurUsd, very similar price action. Now, if you'll notice this, so the US dollar, again, very significant failure swing from here to this high here. You see that? See how high this got up in here and how low this got here and how it sold off. Look at the euro. This is the same price swing in the exact same time frame. This is the 29th of November. You see that down at the very bottom? November 29th. Right there, that was the low at 109.80. And price ran all the way up, came all the way back down, very similar to what the US dollar did. Ran these highs here, but the US dollar stopped on the run up. You'll notice that. Notice where the US dollar stopped. Well below this consolidation range here. Look where the EurUsd stopped. Well into that consolidation range. Okay. Now, for all you seasoned vets out there, just have a look at where the bodies of these candles closed. I'm going to leave that at that. But for everyone else who is relatively new, this was a much deeper range than what the US dollar ran to the upside. So that being said, I still think there's a very strong possibility that we're going to run this low back in here, and that possibly this push up here was only because the pound sterling saw such a big rip higher and it got pulled up with it. Or, you know, vice versa. Obviously, we had this big drop off here in the US dollar, but my thoughts are this, that we're going to come back down, and I want to see what happens when price gets back to this consolidation level. So I'm going to drag this out here. I believe there's a very high likelihood we're going to come back down and we're going to trade down to the 110.30 level. Okay, we're right now at, let me get rid of this line here. We're currently at 110.80, so that could offer 50 pips on the week right there, which would be good enough for me, especially on an NFP week. You may be thinking differently, and that's fine, but this, I believe, will get a hit out. I think it's going to come back and give up this entire range that it put in on Friday. Now, what I want to see is what the willingness to get through that 110.30 is, because I think there's still more downside that this pair wants to get. I could be wrong. As you see in here, they came up, came back down, made a lower low, ran the stops, and aggressively, not really aggressively, but had a significant push off of that low to take those highs. Well, we failed to get above this high here and these highs here. That to me is not very bullish. And then we came all the way down. I personally believe this is just a swing low. They're coming back up, and they're going to load up the shorts again, and they're going to drop into it. And if you look at the weekly range, look at this range down here. Why would you think that all of a sudden everything is going to get super bullish on this pair with this range here? Now, certainly, this could be the low. Absolutely. This could be the low in the euro, and in which case price won't run back down here, or maybe it does and it doesn't come below this low. We'll worry about this low here when the time comes after it breaks these guys. But if you look at this overall price trend, I mean, you don't have to be a 20-year veteran to tell you this is in a downtrend. So I'm certainly not predicting price to all of a sudden just start shooting higher and breaking up into here, which coincidentally would be, above this high here. Okay, so I personally believe maybe it does do this. Certainly, I mean, maybe it does. It's not going to do it this week, and I think NFP on Friday is either. I think there's a good chance we could shoot down on NFP on Friday to make the low. on the month, and then we'll probably build up higher than that, but we'll wait until this week settles down, and then into next week. Next Sunday I can give you more of an accurate prediction. But if you also look, and here's the other thing too, I mean, look how much of this price has been consolidating. Now, I know there's lots of EurUsd traders out there, so that's why I'm spending a little bit longer talking about this, but I believe personally, before we go up, I think we're going to go down. That's really the long and the short of it. This is my target on the week, and when it gets to here, I want to see when it gets to here, what day, and I want to see the strength it has to go lower, and I could possibly, these were my targets last week, and we just failed to get below them. As you can see, it just missed by 10 pips there and by 30 pips there. So I had the slide, I had the correct trajectory, we just didn't quite get the the level that I thought it was going to hit on the downside. But nonetheless, it was still the same price direction that I'd figured it was going to go to. So anyway, that's where we're at for Euro. GbpUsd, look at the big push we had Thursday, Friday, and this was again related to the pound sterling's monetary policy release and the Brexit that happened on Friday. Look at them. Big stop run above this old high in here, and they're giving it back just as quick as they gave it. You can see here they gapped down and then prices aggressively falling off. Here's my thoughts. I personally believe that we are going to run lower on GBP. I still want to see this level hit in here. My thoughts on this are that they used the ruse, if you would call it, of Brexit to fire price up into here aggressively. And look at this run. I mean, look at this. 230 pips in 2 days. Nice range. I personally believe that they're going to give all this back, and we're going to trade below 129.30. Now, mainly because I think EuroGBP is going to go higher up into here and run these stops above here, which will propel GbpUsd lower. That's the only reason. I don't believe we're going to get under here, but I do believe that all of these levels right in here are just too good to leave open without a stop run and them dropping price down and rejecting. Dropping price down. Now, when we get down here, I believe price will probably reject and will probably end up moving higher. And again, if you look at this, where are we in the weekly? We're in a very nice uptrend, right? Price is moving up. After this big downtrend, we've taken out this high here. And what are we doing here? We're coming in after this big move up, and we're just consolidating. We're building up prices. I just personally believe we're going to have one big candle down, and then we're probably going to continue higher, and we'll probably take out this high and maybe even get up above here. Okay, so that's what I've got for you so far on the week. Now, the $1,000,000 question is, do we... I don't know why I have this level in here. Let me just get rid of that. Do we shoot up in here and fill in this gap that was created? You see that gap there? From that low to that high. That gap, that's Sunday. So at the time of this recording, it's almost midnight New York time. And we've gapped down to open up the week. I personally believe we're going to continue this down. But I want to see what happens when it gets into this range here. We could start hesitating a little bit. You can see it's already doing so after it just touched back into this. See that the highs of this consolidation level, we're starting to give back a little bit of that aggressive sell-off. So what I want to see is if it goes through this level here that it just put in. You can see that there, that consolidation level between there and there. Nice straight lines. So do we get up through here? If we do, we're going to close this off and then we'll probably fall over. I have a sneaking suspicion though it's probably going to do something more like this, and then we're going to see a run lower. That's just my thoughts. We could be wrong, but again, it is Brexit, and it's going to be very interesting going forward what they do with this pair. So that's what I'm watching for this week. Now, do we get all the way down, back down below 129.30 this week? It's certainly possible. Judging from the fact that we're still in an overall extended consolidation here, I'm not going to hold my breath that it's going to get down there, but I do believe this range on Thursday and Friday will get traded back down to, and I certainly believe that this old Wednesday high, whoops, excuse me, grabbed the wrong price tag. I believe this old Wednesday high of 130.30 will get traded to. So that's my prediction on the week for cable. Now, if we lose the gap and the gap fills and then we start taking out this high, the likelihood of them trading back down to 130.30 gets lesser and lesser. So just have that in your back of your mind there if you are going to trade cable. If they don't want to go down there, we're going to take out this high here. But I personally believe, my thoughts are they're going to sink this thing lower. So, okay, UsCad moving right along is doing absolutely nothing that the US dollar is doing, which is means it is uncoupled right now from the usual correlation between the US dollar and the Canadian dollar. And you can see here we've had a big sell-off on UsCad after a big run higher. What has UsCad been doing? Which should be doing the exact same thing. It's still pushing higher. So if this was correlated to what the US dollar would doing, the UsCad pair would look exactly like this. You can see the difference. Okay, we're still driving higher on UsCad. I have been bullish UsCad for a little while. Basically, ever since the US dollar made the about face turn from here, I've been bullish UsCad, and it's, you know, it's certainly not letting me down. And I believe we're probably going to see 133 here, but unfortunately the UsCad is just really taking its time for me, and I'm really not in love with this pair. I think we're probably going to see higher prices. Do we get up to 133.30? I don't know. I'm going to leave it on here because this is an obvious draw on liquidity up here, and I think that's where they want to pull price up to. Do we keep going higher? Do we get above here? I hope so. But really it's just going to depend on what the US dollar is going to do here. If that's the case, then the US dollar is really going to have to get up here to propel UsCad all the way up into here. So we're going to be watching this, but I believe we're probably going to see higher prices on UsCad. This could be the week that they're going to do it in. So we'll see if that comes to play out. Overall, long term though, not looking too good for UsCad. It's looking like it is, like we had a big high up here, a big rally, and a failure, and an aggressive sell-off, and then prices slowly been moving higher. We failed to get above that high, and now price is making lower highs and lower highs and lower highs and lower highs, and then a lower low, and who knows, probably a lower high. So we'll see how things go here with UsCad, but really consolidating very tightly. So this is kind of why I'm not super crazy about the Canadian dollar. Okay, but we'll see if this level gets reached on UsCad. What changes that if price wants to trade lower than 131.70? And we're currently at 132.40, so this is a little ways away for UsCad. So just bear that in mind. But if we trade lower than 131.70, then we're probably going to go back down and retest this consolidation level. But as long as we stay above that, really to see this big down candle, this 1, 2, 3 pattern consolidation level right there, as long as we stay above that, I think we're pretty much good. If we do see some price fluctuation throughout the week, I would tolerate 131.70 to the downside, but no more than that. If we go below 131.70, price is going to run down into here. Okay. US yen, another pair that is totally uncoupled from what the US dollar is doing. US dollar had 2 down days, and now we're starting to make a bit of recovery after, you know, running all of these old highs in here. US yen has been sliding for the past 2 weeks. So again, here's another pair that I don't like. I discussed them taking out these highs here, and I said we'd have to wait for some more information. I think it's probably going to fill this gap in up here. But right now, like, this is pretty sloppy price action in here. And if you look at what they're doing, I mean, you look at this, and let me just change the color here to make it stand out a little bit better. Look at consolidation, 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 drop out, return back, consolidation, consolidation, very tight consolidation, drop out, run up, and now we're back in this consolidation again. So I mean, really, you'd have to have a crystal ball. It's 50-50. We could shoot back up in here, we could stay in the consolidation, or we could drop lower. I don't know on this one because it's not doing anything. So UsCad and US yen usually run fairly in tandem with what the US dollar is doing. You can see they're both not doing either of that. So I'm going to hold off on US yen. Australian dollar, big sell-off on Australian dollar, and we discussed this, folks. I really hope you guys got a big piece of this. What did I tell you in here? As price shot up into here and we were selling off, and then we failed on this candle to get higher. Looks like a head and shoulders pattern to me. Not that I trade these patterns, but you don't have to be a real novice trader to spot this. I mean, this is obvious. You know, again, and not that I use that pattern to signify any entry, but that's a very, very simple pattern right there, and a big sell-off. Now, I called this low here, and I said I wasn't sure if we were going to run under this low and this low. As you can see, it didn't stop. It had that last Thursday. Big sell-off last Thursday, running both those highs, and then even into Friday, another big shot down. And now we've got a very full house for Australian dollar. We've got cash rate, we got RBA rate statement on Monday, which looks like they're going to leave that unchanged. We've got Governor Lowe speaking on Tuesday. We've got retail sales. We've got a trade balance on Wednesday. We've got Governor Lowe speaking again on Thursday. Monetary policy statement Thursday. So the Australian dollar is going to go through the ringer here. To be honest with you, you may want to stay out of Australian dollar for the time being, but if you absolutely must know, I personally believe it will run these lows here, and we do have this gap. I'm still looking at this gap. I think if we run these lows on the rate announcement tomorrow and reject and come back up to this level here, basically above this red line, I'm going to target 68.20 to the upside, because I think there's a very good chance it could get up there. But have a look at this. You know, again, whoops, excuse me. We're in a big downtrend, so I'm not necessarily super bullish on Australian dollar. Big downtrend. We are hitting a very significant level to the downside right now, which is why I want to see when they run those lows. So when these lows get run here, is it going to be on Monday? How quickly do they do it? Are they aggressive? And do they come back immediately and reject? If that's the case, I think there could be a very short-term tradable play back up to this level here. So that's just my thoughts on the Australian dollar. But long-term, I'm not bullish on Australian dollar. And again, this is why. Okay. Finally, crude oil. Folks, hopefully you have been listening to me on crude oil, because I said when price was going in through here, not really in through July, I mentioned that it should run these lows, and we saw a run up and then run back down, and it was right about when price was in here into, I think it was September, when I started talking about them running this low here. They ran it up on that bombing at Saudi Aramco's facility, dropped it aggressively, and I was finally thinking, that's it, they're going to come down, they're going to run those lows, only for them to very slowly and methodically run it all the way back up. And then this right in here, this big up candle right here, was when the US took out that Iranian general, or whatever he was. They smacked the market up once, twice, dropped it down, and then this big spike right in here, and that was it. And then price sold off. I mean, this is a very, very quick sell-off, folks. And they're coming down to it one more time here. They're going to run these lows. I would be shocked if we didn't do it now. If we get above this level here without running those lows, then we could make one more run up. But I honestly believe they're going to roll it. They gapped down and opened up on the week. You can see that from Sunday's candle there. Friday's candle closed up here. Sunday's candle opened down here. Now it's just filling the gap. I'm looking for a continuation to the downside now. I don't believe we're going below this low here. I personally believe that this low right here will be the low from, you know, for the next little while. Like, I don't think we're going under 40s. And I'll throw this line under here. They certainly could. Don't get me wrong. You got to be careful of that. Like, I'm not, just because it runs these lows here does not necessarily mean I'm going to be straight bullish and hope for a run up here. But I do believe there's a good chance that we're going to run down here, reject, and then go higher. Okay? But watch this. Watch this low here. If price goes below, and I think we're probably going to see it this week, price goes below 46, and I'm going to give it a little bit of buffer. We'll say 46 even. If price goes below 46 even, I'm going to wait and hold, because we could see a run below this low. But I think there's a very, very strong chance that we're going to reject at the 47, excuse me, 49. I'm going to get the high of this candle here, but I want to get it on the daily. $49.90. There we go. So I'm watching the $49.90 level to the downside. We're very close to it right now. Very close. I believe they're going to take this level out this week. Now, when we hit that level, I want to see if they decide if they want to reject and then run higher, or if they're going to continue lower. If we don't see any reaction at this level, I'm going to hold off and wait. You don't have to buy the exact low. I mean, that's not what we're looking for. I mean, you could certainly wait for price to come down, it hits that and come up, and even get long in here and then wait and have a very profitable move to recap this high here. Nothing wrong with that. Keep in mind, crude oil is very bullish the first quarter, so that's what I'm anticipating. Now, there's one other level that I'm looking at on the downside, and it's about 47.75. So I'll put it on the chart here if we start getting lower than 49.90. Okay? So that's about it. There was only one other thing. Have a look at gold, you guys. If you guys are a gold trader at all, you'll notice gold here. We saw a big push up. Gold is typically fairly bullish in the first quarter of the year. And I was hoping gold was going to come back down and retest this consolidation level that I have marked in here. And you can see we ran up, and it's just been really sloppy. So I don't really like this. I think there's a very good chance, because look what silver did. Silver had the same push up, and this one really consolidated, very similar to what gold was doing, but we dropped back down to this consolidation level here. And I don't know if you're part of my membership group, you'd notice I've had this level sitting on my chart since December when I did the review, and we came out and just touched it last week. Where gold, we didn't get that. So a bit of a divergent, definitely shows a lot of bullish tendencies towards gold. I think we're probably going to push higher. But in order for it to go higher, we're going to need to see a very strong drop in US dollar. So do we get that this week? Do we wait till next week? We're going to have to wait and see for NFP to wrap up. And that's everything for the day, guys. So hope you enjoyed this. Hope you got some value out of it. Please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you did. Let me know your thoughts. And again, I'll be back for another free recorded version next Sunday for all our members. We will be back hitting the live streams again starting tomorrow evening. So be ready for that. Lots of signals, lots of discussion, lots of charts flying back and forth in the chat room. If you guys want to find out more information, check us out at f45trading.com. If you're an avid trader, you definitely want to be part of our group, because there's a lot of action in there. We discuss a lot of setups, a lot of charts, and a lot of the markets. And if you love the markets like I do, you're definitely going to enjoy that experience. So check that out, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.